Hello, ladies, gentlemen, elves, dwarves, hobbits, entwives. Stop hiding, please. Today we are talking about character cards for the free people, speaking of entwives. And this is the ranking system that we used in the prior videos. If you're not familiar, it is the first category is how good is the card event part on a scale of 1 to 5. How good is the combat effect on a scale of 1 to 5, and how good is the flexibility, meaning how useful is the card depending on when you draw it in the game, relating to if one of the effects is just blatantly always picked over the other, things like that. So the lowest rating is a 3, the highest is a 15, and we will sort them accordingly. And I'm excited to get into these cards because the shadow ones were mostly positive. I think the characters were a little worse, mainly due to some bad combats with Black Breath and other things. But yeah, the Free People character deck is renowned for being god awful in terms of its consistency, or you'll get some real bangers and some real swings and misses, so to speak. So let's jump on right in with Athalas. So Athalas is roll 3 dice, heal on 5 ups, corruption. If Strider's the guide, you heal on 3 ups. Athalas is cursed. It's a scam. You will roll a 1 when you play this card. It's guaranteed, but it is good. It is good. Even without Strider, it is good. Being able to potentially heal just 1 is great. I think its major downside is it could just do nothing. So being able to heal corruption, playing a card, I think that it would be close to a 5. But again, it has that chance to do nothing even with Strider. It can happen. It's a 1 in 3. It's not insane odds. It's the same odds of rolling a character die. So the odds of missing that are not insane. So yeah, I think I'm comfortable giving it a 4. You know, Strider as guide, it's usually pretty easy to keep it that way. But yeah. The combat Anduril. If Strider is fighting, you change 1 missed dice to a hit after forfeiting his leadership. If it's Aragorn, you get 2 free hits after forfeiting his leadership. So Anduril is extremely good in its card effect. Like, reading it on paper, it's like, wow, that's really cool. I'm glad they're really giving me a benefit for getting Aragorn. But the reality is there are so many cards Shadow can play that turn this card off. Like, Shadow should always be aware of this card. If they see character cards, they should always be mentally aware that this card exists, and they might take 2 hits for free. And it's not like these 2 hits are an additional 2 hits. It's just 2 free hits on their dice. They can still only do a maximum of 5. So it's nothing insane. I think the card would be a lot stronger if you just got a free 2 hits. I think maybe it should do that. You might see more Aragorn play, but yeah, these free people cards are really weak. Yeah, the companions themselves don't actually benefit too much in sieges, but some of these cards are just god awful. The effects are good, but they're not very consistent, I guess is what I'm trying to get at here. But yeah, Words of Power turns this card off. Foul Stench turns it off if their leadership's equal or higher. Dread and Despair turns it off, with Aragorn at least. You still get 1 hit technically, but you won't get 2. So many cards that just turn this card off. Yeah, I mean, I guess technically if they play a strategy card, no, Swarm of Bats turns it off too. Gosh, how did I forget that one? Yeah, there's 3 character cards and 1 strategy card that all turn this card off. It sucks. The whole time you're just paranoid of even playing it. Despite that, I still think I'd give it a 4, just because they are playing these cards that typically don't really benefit them that much, maybe the exception of Dread and Despair, just to keep this card in check. It has some fear behind it. It's got lore. I'd give it a 4. Flexibility wise, this card's terrible, because just to get that combat effect to even do anything, Aragorn needs to be fighting. A lot of people, when they get Aragorn, he runs, and he doesn't even fight a single battle in the whole game. And it makes sense. You're preserving your die. I don't play that way, but the strategically sound thing to do is, yes, to make him run away and threaten dead men. So the flexibility is garbage. I think Athelas, it would be a 1, but I think at least I don't know, maybe it should be a 1. I don't know. It's difficult because almost every single character combat needs a companion, so I think this being restricted to Aragorn isn't that crazy, because if any companion's going to be in a fight, it's likely to be him. If you choose that, of course, like I said, he does run. So I think if you're a player who constantly runs with Aragorn, it's a 1. If you fight with him, I think it's a 2. So I will personally rank it as a 2, flexibility wise. Athelas can be played at any point, so it's very flexible the top half. It's mostly the combat that's kind of pulling it down a little bit, or quite a bit. So the ranking comes out to a 10. So Athelas is a B. I'm pretty confident with that. The top effect is so good, but again, the combat can be, particularly if Aragorn's dead. That also sucks. But honestly, if Aragorn's dead, you got more problems than this card. So axe and bow, you put it on the table if Legolas and Gimli are in the Fellowship, and you reduce corruption by 1 after a hunt tile has been pulled. You can't just do it against cards and stuff. So let me get this out of the way. I should do this nice and early. Free people cards, I think the main, I don't think they're the worst things in the world. I think the problem with the free people cards is you don't have any dice. You start with 4. You have a 1 in 6 chance to roll a Palantir per die. So the odds of you even rolling a die to play these cards are low. Typically, free people cards are played with other results. Considering character dice results are typically used to move the Fellowship a lot, then character cards in particular see a lot less play. So yeah, a big downside to cards like Axe and Bow is if you have the Palantir, great, but burning a character die result to play this, I don't know. I mean, the effect is okay. I think the effect isn't groundbreaking, but because Axe and Bow gives you some versatility with having Legolas or Gimli in the Fellowship, I think I'm willing to give it an average score of 3. It can do the whole gimmicky, if they pull a 1 on Foul Thing, it will cancel Foul Thing. You know, that's cool. I have yet to actually see that ever happen. I think Iris said that in his videos, and he always brought it up, but I've never actually seen it happen. Obviously it does, but it just hasn't come up. Maybe I just don't play these cards enough. I don't know. But yep, gonna give it a 3. The combat is mighty attacks. This is like the poor man's Andoril. It's more consistent because it can be any companion. It can even be a hobbit. But yeah, Pippin's throwing hands. But yeah, it's just 1. It's not the 2 that Andoril gives you with Aragorn. It's okay. Yeah, I think I'm willing to give it a 3. The problem with Mighty Attack is, while the effect's great, I mean, it's going to go off. Unless they play Words of Power against, like, Boromir for some reason. It's going to go off. It's just, free people usually want more defense than offense. But to be fair, this is the character deck. While free people typically want defense, the character deck does rely more on companions are there and they're out for blood. So it does fulfill that niche. Boromir will automatically chop an orc's head off. Pretty cool. But so I think I'm right down the middle of the road. It's a 3. Flexibility wise, again, technically Aragorn can also play this, but it doesn't have that restriction Andoril has. But it's just such a small effect. Like, you wouldn't separate a companion just to play this card. If you had 2 of them, you wouldn't do that. It's not good enough for that. I do think its versatility, its flexibility is very low. Yeah, I'd be willing to give its flexibility a 3, an average. However, because the Axe and Bow, you could get to a point where you can't play it. And it might be, it's likely you're taking randoms. If you pull Legolas and then you pull Gimli, Foul Thing pulls Gimli, whatever, yeah, you can't play the card. So I think flexibility is going to go down to a 2 just because of that restriction. So Axe and Bow ends up being a 8. goes straight to C. So slightly below average of a card. Horn of Gondor, the exact same thing, except it's Boromir only. It reduces damage by 1. I gave Akimbo a 3. I think Horn of Gondor gets a 2 because it's just Boromir. The effect just isn't as good. It's more restricted. The combat, mighty attack, again, it's a 3. The flexibility, willing to give it the same. It can be turned off if a person dies. It's even more likely. But yeah, still, I mean, it's not the most likely thing. I mean, when you have these cards, maybe you'll be less likely to take randoms. Probably not, but yeah, overall, not the most impressive card. So yeah, it comes out to a 7. Yeah, math. So that goes into D. Bilbo's Song, jumping right up there. So you heal 1 corruption. Gollum's the guide, you heal 2. Bilbo's is very good, one of the strongest cards. So you're typically looking for very specific cards. This is one of them. So it's a 5. Even due to the fact that, as most good cards are, the restriction is non-existent. It's kind of weird how some cards are so restrictive and other ones just don't care. So yeah, Bilbo's Song, you heal 1 even without Gollum. So if you're at a game where Isildur's hit you for 3 and then Candles hit you for 3 and your whole fellowship's still full, you can still just play this and heal. It's nice. If you have the luxury of Gollum, you heal 2. Really pays off. Easy 5. Fateful Strike, the only Fateful Strike in the deck. So this is if you roll 1 hit on your leader reroll with a companion in the battle, you kill a Nazgul. If you roll 2 hits, you can kill a minion. It's not the greatest thing in the world. Yeah, it's not very consistent because yeah, you're only hitting on 5s. So if you're expected 1 hit on your combat, that means even if you have max leadership, you're only rolling 4 dice on your leader reroll. What are the odds you're going to get 2 hits on 5-ups? Not great. However, the one niche where this card could be crazy is if you expect them to be playing Deadly Strife, even a Desperate Battle. It makes all your dice coin flips. Yeah, if you see a Deadly Strife come, if you somehow predict it, you see the strategy card, them playing a strategy card. Yeah, if you play Fateful Strike against Deadly Strife, now the downside, if you roll extremely good in your combat, if you roll 4 hits in your combat, you are not killing a minion because you're only rolling 1 die in your leader. Yeah, I wish they could let you optionally just choose to whiff a combat so you could at least roll. Like, God, if you could do it'd probably be a little broken, but then again, there's only 1 Fateful Strike and you're giving up Bilbo's Song. I don't care if I rolled 4 hits on my combat, I'll sacrifice all 4 of those so I can roll 5 dice for Fateful Strike. You'd probably see a lot more minions dying, but granted, I had 5 leadership and a companion, so that's fun. But like most things, free people in this game, you just do not have that luxury. You have to deal the hand you're dealt. A lot of luck. So overall, it's just not a consistent card. Again, most of the time when it doesn't go off because I'm just too successful in my combat roll, which is goofy. Yeah, my soldiers killed too many guys, so my leader decided not to go for the leader. It's weird. Doesn't really work thematically. It's a 2 because it can work. You get brownie points for trying, just because of how good Bilbo's Song is, the top effect. But it's a 2, I think. Flexibility. Again, Bilbo's is extremely flexible. You can play it whenever you want. Fateful Strike, technically you can play whenever you want. Killing an Nazgul, it's not great. I don't know. I'm tempted to go average on flexibility just because all you need to do is have a companion. But you're giving up such a freaking good effect now. It's a 2, I think. Even 2, I think, might be generous. But it does have that threat. It's just one of those War of the Ring things. Like, it's cool that you can just kill the Witch King because that does dramatically alter the game. So I'm comfortable giving it a 2. I don't think it's so bad flexibility wise that it's a 1. Yep. Yeah. Let's go with 2. Let's make decisions here. So it's a 5-2-2. So it's a 9. So Bilbo's Song goes up to a C. I say it in all my other videos. Again, this is a ranking of the entire card itself. So we are taking into account both the, again, the event and the combat. So Bilbo's Song, it's an insanely good card. You hunt for it, but if the combats just don't consistently do anything, it might, not really a dead card because you can always play Bilbo's, but it might kind of crowd up your hand a little bit. You know, if you really, really need to win a combat and you have Bilbo's, it's not really going to help. All right, Challenge of the King. So, Aragorn Strider in a Gondor Rohan region with an army. Draws 3 tiles, discards eyes permanently. If he draws 3 eyes, he dies. If he draws no eyes, nothing happens. The most exciting card in the game, for sure. It's very fun. In person, it can get really exciting. Love it. In terms of a competitive sense, how good is it? I think it's pretty good because it's one of those cards that you can look at the board state and make a decision. Typically, you want to play this in Mordor because you can draw the red eye and get rid of it. The ring is mine. But not always. You know, you can play it whenever, really. If the eyes are the majority of the hunt pool, I think you always take that risk of drawing 3 in a row. If you draw 3 in a row, so be it. But you typically want to wait for there to be a lot of eyes in the pool instead of just random regular tiles, and you just go for it. And yeah, if you manage to take out 2 eyes, Mordor is so different. Like, that is insane. Like eyes are what kills Frodo the majority of the time, with, you know, reds also. So yeah, it can have a big effect. It's restrictive in its use, but again, it's not hard to fulfill. It's just Aragorn's with an army. Like, if you crown Aragorn, he's with an army. So I give it a 4. It's a good effect. It has the potential to be insanely strong. The downside's minimal. The odds of drawing 3 eyes are pretty low. This card's also very ridiculous in Lords too, because of Galadriel. But the combat is Sudden Strike. So Sudden Strike, I believe there's a strategy card version of it too. It's kind of like Devilry. Sudden Strike is you just roll before the fight for your leadership. I think Sudden Strike is fantastic. I think I'm going to give Sudden Strike a 4 because leadership, I don't think people see good Sudden Strikes a lot, but I don't think that's due to the card being bad. I think it's just due to how people muster. You'll see if you watch a lot of the topper players play Free People, the ones that don't just hard sprint every game, you'll see them muster elites, or not elites, leaders. While newer players will probably just keep mustering elites and put like 4 elites in one place, and Shadow might just ignore it. But yeah, commonplace Gondor, muster an elite in Dol Amroth, another one in Minas Tirith, then do it again. You have 2 elites in Dol Amroth, or 2 leaders in Dol Amroth. You now have you have 2 in Minas Tirith. Yeah, I think there's only 4. Yeah. But then you get companions, and that's the big strength of this. Aragorn's giving you 2 leadership on his own. Wherever Aragorn is, Sudden Strike is lurking. But while the effect itself is fantastic, it's the same concept. Obviously, Words of Power doesn't fully cancel it. Dread and Despair doesn't fully cancel it, but Foul Stench does. And that's why in my ranking, I gave Foul Stench a 3, despite it not being the most amazing effect ever, because it does shut these things down. And the best thing about the Sudden Strike is it happens before the fight. So commonly, if Aragorn's got 2 regulars and the Witch King's got 5, you Sudden Strike, you get 2 hits. Well, now it's 2 against 3, and Aragorn's rolling 3 dice because he's a captain. Scary stuff for the Witch King. That ends up in a lot of Witch King deaths. Very strong combat. Okay, and also, one more thing. I feel like I'm talking about it a lot, but unlike other effects like Charge, Sudden Strike does not decrease as the fight progresses. Unless you play Heroic or they play Black Breath. So Sudden Strike is just as good when you have 1 unit as it is when you had 5. Yep. Okay, so flexibility with Challenge of the King. Unfortunately, not flexible because it does require Aragorn to play the top effect. So it's kind of similar to Athelas, just the reverse. I gave Athelas a 2 in its flexibility. I think I'm just going to do the same for Challenge of the King. It requires Aragorn. Again, it's not a 1 because Aragorn is not common, but it's practical. You get an extra die. A lot of people choose not to, but it is a decision that has value. So him being there isn't crazy, but if you draw the card when it's just not that kind of game, or worse yet, Strider's dead, or you're in Mordor where you can't separate, it is a dead card on the top. So yeah, definitely 2 in the flexibility department. That would bring it up to a 10. So Challenge of the King is a B. Dead Men of Dunharrow, yet another Aragorn card. So this is where he teleports from Rohan or Gondor with any companions. Can he teleport from Gondor? I'm drawing a blank. I don't know if he can actually teleport from Gondor. I might be thinking of Warriors of Middle-earth. He can at least teleport from Rohan right into Pelargir, Eric, Lamadon, usually, almost always Pelargir. Makes people rolls a die. That's how many hits he does. Then they run away, and then he can recruit up to 3 regulars, Gondor regulars there. Dead Men is another fear card, which is very thematic, where you don't actually need it. If you move Aragorn to Rohan, Shadow's going to assume you have it. While that's nice, and when you do have it, it's nice to be able to actually just take a point back on command, because they have to retreat and you get to recruit, assuming you have people to recruit. It's very easy to counter, but it's all about timing. So all they need to do is conquer it before Aragorn is in Rohan, and then walk off of it and leave one guy there, and then he'll just hold the army adjacent. So yep, he jumps there, kills that one guy, bye-bye, recruits 3 regulars, and then that probably giant army just slams into him. Granted, he's in a city, he might live, but yeah, it can be countered, but again, that army is just sitting there anti-Aragorning, anti-ghosting. So it's a strong effect because it requires counterplay by Shadow. Not a lot of cards require counterplay by Shadow. So it's a 5. The threat of it alone is fantastic. Again, it does require separation from Aragorn, but that's more of a flexibility thing, so we'll get to that later. The effect itself is fantastic. Sudden Strike, still a 4. Yeah, flexibility, I'm thinking we're going to go average this time. Yeah, because the problem with Anduril and Challenge of the King was he needed to be with an army when you get Aragorn, and typically people don't want to do that. They want to get him away from armies so he can survive always, and you can keep your extra die. So this is just more safe and more reliable, right? You don't have to almost sacrifice Aragorn just so you could play Challenge of the King or Anduril. You can just have him chill out by himself, and you can still play this card. So I think we're going to give it average, but yeah, again, same thing. Strider dies, you're in Mordor. It's not that kind of game. All that. Yeah, it also does have the benefit of, unlike Anduril, which basically requires Anduril or Aragorn to be nice. You don't need Aragorn for this. You could just have Strider. You don't see that often, but he does go to a place he can be crowned. He'll probably just die afterwards, but hey, you can do that. So Dead Men is a 5, a 4, and a 3. So that's 12. So it is our first A rank. Elven Cloaks. All right, we're on the blue tiles now. So hot take. I think blue tiles suck. I'll always play them, because you got to minimize your bad luck, the best you can. But if I have any card that's ranked above, I'll usually play them first. Blues usually sit in your hand for a while. The reason I think blues suck is, unlike Shadow, you have a lot less dice, as I explained earlier. Your odds of even rolling Palantirs are extremely low. You're not using wills to play cards, very unlikely. You're not spending character dice to play cards, very unlikely. So the chance to play these are terrible. When you do actually play them, obviously it's random if you draw it. Even if you do draw it, fantastic, great, that's awesome. But unlike red tiles hurt you like hell, and they also stop you. They do two things to you. This thing does nothing. It just lets you move. Now, I brought up in that video that, yeah, I get thematically Mordor is supposed to be god-awful, and getting just a free move is supposed to be like a, but competitively, I don't think it's worth the die. I would rather, with these specifically, Elven Cloaks, Elven Rope, I would rather draw another character card before playing it. Because if Mithril is a guaranteed effect, Bilbo's Song is a guaranteed effect, there's another way, guaranteed effect. So Elven Cloaks, I give it 2. I don't think they're very good. Yes, they can win you the game, but not only are Shadow's red tiles better, they just have the more dice to get them in there. It makes more sense for them to put their tiles in. It doesn't make that much sense for you to put yours in unless the hunt pool is very small. So, yeah, Elven Cloaks I'm going to give it 2. Similar to the Shadow tiles, it is a gift. Yeah, it is a gift is garbage. Basically, just recount what I said there. The odds of you playing it are very low. You have to be with the Fellowship. You get a +1 to your combat and later reroll. I guess one benefit it is a gift has is, unlike the red tiles, where I said even if you could play one for the Dark Lord, you probably wouldn't because you'd rather play the red. Playing it as a gift could have value. I think if I had Elven Cloaks or Elven Rope, I might play it, but again, the odds of you actually playing it are almost 0. Like, it's not going to happen. If they besiege Rivendell early, maybe. But yeah, not good. Also, the theme's weird. They explicitly state we can't really use the ring that well, or we shouldn't, and then the card's just like, we could though, and it works. A little weird on that one, but we're not ranking theme. Flexibility 1, just like the combat. It's not flexible whatsoever. If you are going to play it, you're playing it for the top effect. Good luck playing that combat. So all in all, it comes out to a 4. So it is an F. Elven Rope is the exact same thing, so it's going there. Now, Vial of Galadriel. Actually, let me switch these. Smeagol helps Nice Master. It does heal you. There's slightly more value to putting it in there. So, similar to what I was saying about Shadow Tiles, where it hurts you and it stops you. At the very least, Smeagol helps Nice Master lets you move freely, and it gets rid of corruption. So it is actually doing 2 things. So it's slightly better. I would give it a 3, and then a 1/1, which is a 5, so it's it's still F. Now, Vial, I would actually give a 4, because healing 2 corruption is insane. Yeah, Vial, I will pretty much always play it, 100%. So I give it a 4, and then it's a 1/1 again, so it does manage to get up to a 6, so it goes up to D. All right. Gwahir the Windlord. So Gwahir lets you move 4 spaces with a companion from the Fellowship or just on the board. Can go into strongholds under siege. So Gwahir is it's good, but being able to separate companions with a Palantir is always a nice effect, and I think that's the majority of its benefit. It does let Gandalf the White get into a stronghold for that surprise defense, stuff like that. The problem with that is it almost always backfires unless it's the last turn of the game, so it's not usually a good play. Yeah, Gwahir using the stronghold effect is a desperation play, and again, similar to Lidless Eye almost, it's if you want to hold this card for the entire game just to use it at the end, it's not very efficient in terms of being a good card. So I think I'm willing to give it a 3 though, because again, being able to separate companions from the Fellowship with a Palantir is great. It gives you some variety, gives you some options. So Daring Defiance. So this is you forfeit all companion leadership in a battle, and then you cancel the Shadows combat card. This is an extremely good effect because it is versatile with realistic expectations. So most people aren't going to throw 3 companions in 1 stronghold. That's just not how the game usually is played on Java, Discord. What does end up happening decent, like consistently, is hobbits. When they get randomed, they separate and then they run the strongholds. So the biggest asset of Daring Defiance is a hobbit. You're forfeiting their one leadership. They don't. That's all they're giving you is one leadership, but you're forfeiting that one tiny leadership to cancel Shadow's card completely. You may notice there are 3 Daring Defiances in this deck. So I have had sieges as Shadow where Pippin is in Helm's Deep, and I went in there with a big army, and they played Daring Defiance 3 times. So they cancel my Great Host, and then they cancel my Desperate Battle, and then they cancel my Deadly Strife, because I just don't expect them to have 3 of them. Yeah, it's an extremely good card, and a Hobbit can get max value from it. That's the big key to it. A Hobbit is getting max value. So I give Daring Defiance a 5. Absolutely. It is. You should fear it as Shadow. You should fear fighting companions because of this card alone. You really don't want to burn good cards against companions just out of fear of this. It's like Swarm. It's basically Swarm of Bats. Flexibility wise, I think it's average. You should always have a companion you can separate. Usually, if you wanted to, you should always. If not, you might have companions on the board to move. It's flexible in that regard. And then Daring Defiance, again, it doesn't require a certain companion. It just needs any companion. So hobbits, which are the most likely to be involved in fights in a standard game, can use it. Very, very usable. But the reason it's not higher than a 3 is it does require companions. So that can be awkward. You draw it at the wrong time, or your whole fellowship's dead. If that happens, then obviously most of these cards are crap. But if none of the companions ended up getting the strongholds, that bottom effect's doing nothing. And ironically, the top effect helps you get to that point, but then obviously you use the cards, so you can't use the bottom effect. So it's a little weird in the flexibility department. It's kind of similar to the Shadow forward mustering cards with We Come to Kill. Like, you'd like to play the forward mustering card like Hill Trolls and then play We Come to Kill, but you just burned We Come to Kill, so you can't. So it's decision making, but it's not the worst thing in the world. So it's a 5, a 3, and a 3, so that comes out to 11. So Gwahir is a B. I will go alone. So similar concept. You separate from the Fellowship. You heal 1 corruption, and you get 1 bonus move. So it's not as good as Gwahir, which just gives you a straight up 4. But it does heal you. And I love this card. I don't think it's as good. Well, yeah, I think it is as good. I think it's average. I think it's a 3. That 1 extra move is worse, but healing corruption is like, that's your win condition, is not getting corrupted. So anything that involves healing Frodo is amazing. And notably, if you do this with Strider, you get a lot of value. He gets 4 movements added, or 1 added to his level, so he gets 4 on whatever Frodo has. So it's a great card. Daring Defiance. So I'll give the card a 3. I'll give Daring Defiance a 5 again. Flexibility wise, what did I give Gwahir? I gave Gwahir a 3. Yeah, same concept really. It's 3. You need companions. You might be more willing to do this than you would with Gwahir, because you're technically, if you separate Gimli, you're taking 2 corruption away from yourself, health, but now you're only taking 1. So it might be a little bit more useful. Yep. I'm okay with that. So it comes out to the same rating of 11. We prove this swifter. So this is actually, you separate companions and you get 2 bonus moves, and you can end the move under or inside of a siege. We prove the swifter is built different. Definitely it's better than the other 2. It's a 4. It's kind of awkward with how better it is though, because Strider, Aragorn, Gandalf. Well, Strider and Aragorn gets 5 moves. So this is the best card to crown Aragorn. If you're in Moria, you just reach Minas Tirith. Gandalf the White notably gets 6 moves because of Shadowfax. So he's zooming. He can go to a lot of places. So this is a very strong Gandalf card, like because Gwahir does nothing to him because he already has 4 movement. So the 4 movement of Gwahir does nothing. But yeah, we prove the Swifter. He's zooming. He can get to a lot of places with that and change the game more consistently. Um, yeah, it's a 4. Daring Defiance 5, Flexibility 3, same ideas. So ends up being a 12. So it goes up to A. All right, now we're at the Ents. So Ents are Gandalf, the whites in play, companions in Fangorn. You get to play the card, roll 3 die, hit or thank on every result of 4 and up, which is a coin flip. All these Ent cards are the exact same effect. Notably, if Gandalf's in Fangorn or Rohan, you can chain character cards. So most people chain the Ents together if they have more than one, and then they play another card to end it. The Ent effects themselves, I think, again, they're more of a fear thing. Their effect itself can be very swingy, but Shadow doesn't want to take that risk. It's kind of like Day Without Dawn, where once you play them, they actually lose strength because Shadow's like, oh, he only rolled 1 hit. But when you haven't played any and you're holding 4 character cards, Shadow's thinking in their brain he's gonna roll 6 hits. So, yeah, bluffing you have them, holding on to at least 1, it's usually a good idea. I think I'll give him a 3, just because the card itself isn't actually that great. Like the odds of you killing Sauron are usually pretty low unless you get lucky or they just completely empty or think or like leave 1 or 2 guys behind. But at least they fear it. So I think it's average. It's a 3. You know, you're not pissed it's in your hand, but you're not jumping for joy either. Now, notably, the combats. This is where it gets interesting. So we're on Nameless Wood right now. Nameless Wood is if you get a hit, you get 2 more hits. Yeah. Usually free people aren't trying to hurt others. Like, this one's really good because it gives you more than what your dice allow. So if you happen to have a good force, so you happen to have, a full stronghold with 2 leaders or something, you manage to roll 2 or 3 hits, it's nice to be able to just get 2 more. And if you happen to roll 5 hits, you get 7. So if Shadow plays Deadly Strife, you play this, Shadow's probably going to lose 7 health. Very, very strong. I don't think it's perfect because of its restriction, of course. It's only in Rohan regions or Fangorn or Orthanc. So, yeah, all these are going to have some cuts to their versatility, I guess, of just being effective in one area. That's not even a flexibility issue. It's just the fact of the card. Similar to Balrog, the effect is good, but it's going to lose a little points because it's only really in one place. So I'll give it a 4. I think a 4 is fair for this one because it depends on what your army is. And flexibility-wise, I think Ents are 3. You need Gandalf the White. You need a companion in Fangorn. If Gandalf wants to play and do something, he's kind of trapped there. And also, if Rohan's already dead, like, these cards are just dead cards. They don't do anything. I think that's a big cut. Yeah, I think they'd be higher if it weren't for that. If Rohan falls, then you just start drawing these cards. Like, there's 3 of them, so nothing's worse than Rohan being completely conquered. You're looking for Mithril to climb Mordor, and you just keep pulling Ents. Like, it's really frustrating. So that definitely takes the flexibility down. So I think flexibility-wise, it's just average. It's a 3. Like, you can usually do something. You can usually at least play them, but not always. And, even if Rohan is conquered, you do always, if you draw 3 of them, you can just try to kill Saruman to take away one of their die. It might not matter, but it might. So yeah, Nameless Wood, Entmoot specifically, was a 3/4/3. So that's a 10. So it is a B. Treebeard, Ent's Rage. Again, same effect up top, so it'll be a 3. Ent's Rage is you get a +2 to your combat. This one's not as good. Unlike the other one that gets you more hits. Yeah, more hits than normally allowed. This one's basically just giving you a deadly, or not deadly strife. You hit on 3 ups, typically. Notably, if Shadow plays Deadly Strife, this actually kind of sucks because you'll still miss on ones. Yeah, you'll always miss on ones. So, yeah, it'll only bring you up to 2. So the best time you'd use this card is if they use, Desperate Battle. But it's not nearly strong. Again, it's decent, but it's not the one you want. So I think I'm only going to give this one a 2. Yeah, more chance to hit is not going to help me save my stronghold. Getting 7 hits will certainly make me save my stronghold. 5 is still good but you're probably going to roll at least a couple 1s and 2s. Because, again, this is only your combat. It's not your leader. If it was your leader, it'd be different, but it's just your combat. Yeah, so I'm comfortable with a 2, and then flexibility is 3. So Ent's Rage will come out to an 8. So it goes to C. And then we have Horn Dark. This is the one where Shadow can only roll 2 dice. Very good. Again, usually as free, you're trying to survive, so I'm willing to give this a 4. No. Why 4? Yes, 4. Technically, it's better than Daylight, but again, it can only be used in one place. So, Daylight can be used everywhere. So, I don't think it's fair to rate it the same as Daylight, even if it's taking 1 extra die. So, I'm comfortable with 4, so it'll equal the same as Entmoot, so it'll go in B. Alright, there is another way. So, this is where you heal 1 corruption. If Golem's the guide, you get the move, or hide. And it doesn't get added to the box, the hunt box, which is a great benefit when in Mordor. So, definitely, I don't think it's a question. It's 5. Again, you can play it. If it's just one of those games where Golem's not coming, you can still heal for 1. And if Golem is the guide, you get a free move with a Palantir, which is huge. And you get an added bonus of a heal, and it doesn't go to the box. It's a lot of things you're getting just for 1 card. Really wants you to get to Golem to use this card. It's definitely a 5. The combat is Heroic Death. So Heroic Death is either you can kill 1 leader for 1 hit, or you can kill a companion equal to their level. This card's insane. Heroic Death, this is the card, this and Daring Defiance are the cards that Shadow fears. Yeah, Gandalf and Aragorn especially. Yeah, when Gandalf does his final stand, if it's the end of the game, Shadow's going to pretty much assume you have a Heroic Death. So that stronghold that has 3 hit points, no, it actually has 6. And now the downside to Heroic Death is sometimes you play it when you got like 2 regulars left and Shadow just whiffs. I mean, technically you got the same result in the end. It's not a downside. It's just sometimes it's like, oof. If you don't time it right, if you don't time it with the Deadly Strife, it might not make the biggest difference. But luckily, there's 3 of them in the deck. Now, unfortunately, one of them is tied to There Was Another Way. But, more options is good. So the effect itself is for sure a 5. It will single-handedly hold a stronghold, especially if you have multiple and you have multiple companions. Don't sweat at Boromir, Legolas, and Gimli too. They're eating up 2. That's just as good. I can save a stronghold easily. That's a whole elite of health. So it's a 5. Flexibility-wise with this card, I think it's also a 5. You can play it at any point and heal. Play it with Golem for a great effect, or you can just play Heroic Death. Heroic Death is very easy to play because it can just also eat a leader. Sometimes if there's 3 Sauron regulars attacking Woodland Realm who's got 1 elf left, you play Heroic Death. Kill the leader in Woodland Realm. If they only get 1 hit, maybe you get a hit. Now there's only 2 orcs, and yeah, it buys you time, and time's all you need. So this ends up being a 5/5/5, which is our first 15. Beautiful. All right, Mirror of Galadriel. So Mirror of Galadriel is you turn a character into a Will of the West, and you heal 1 corruption if you're in Lorien, which pretty much never gets used. Can be, but the odds of you being there and having this low. I think this effect is not great, to be honest. I think I'm tempted to give it a 1 because you're spending a die to make another die something that can be taken by Day Without Dawn. It's really goofy and kind of annoying. But it does have that benefit of if you draw it early, like turn 1 or 2, I mean, it's 1 in 24 and then a 1 in 23 chance. Good luck. But if you do happen to draw it, maybe you can get Gandalf turn 2 when you just didn't roll the dice for it. It's awkward. You got to roll a character and a Palantir. You're burning the Palantir just to make that character something better because you got unlucky with your roll. It feels kind of bad. It's like jumping through 4 flaming hoops of bullshit just so you can have Gandalf. Not a fan of it, but when you got to use it, you got to use it. So I give it a 2 because it does accomplish what it's meant to accomplish. I kind of wish, I'm not gonna make these videos card buff wishes, but if the Fellowship was adjacent to Lorien and they would heal corruption, that'd be pretty cool. I think this card would be way better because typically you should be on roughly four or so moves when you want to get Gandalf the White. Yeah, so declaring, playing this card, getting Gandalf the White and healing, sign me up. And there's a downside to it. You declared, so now you're out in the open. I think that'd be cool. Anyway, yeah, I give it a 2 as it is now. Combat is a 5. It's heroic death. Flexibility wise, it is very flexible. Technically it's flexible, but again, you're only doing it for Gandalf the White. I don't think you'd ever do it for Aragorn unless you're getting him very early, because once all the Shadow Nations are at war, this card's top effect is garbage. You're spending a die to make another die something, and if they play Day Without Dawn, you just killed 2 of your own dice for no reason. So, it's not great. I think flexibility is a 2. Just because if all Shadow Nations are at war, it's basically unplayable, the top effect. That'll make it a 9. So Mirror of Galadriel goes to C. Alright, the Eagles are coming. So this is if a companion's in a battle, you can play this adjacent or besieged Shadow Army on you. You can roll a die for every Nazgul. On 5-ups, I believe, you kill a Nazgul, and then all of them have to retreat, with the exception of the Witch King. He doesn't count for this card. Oh, boy. Yep. It's a 1. It's not good. You are trading one of your dice for one of Shadow's dice. Now, granted, yeah, if you roll 3 5s, that's cool. You're actually trading one of your dice for 2 of Shadow's die, which is still arguably not even a good deal. You got lucky on that roll, too, and it's still not a good deal. So, it's not a great effect. I have used this once to win me the game, where again, this is like a Little Size situation. They have 2 dice. It's my turn. I pass, whatever. They use a ring to move all their Nazgul to the final place to get their final 2 points in the stronghold. It looks likely they'll beat it. I play Eagles are coming. The Nazgul have to run away. So then they only attack with the Witch King by himself, which, I think in Warriors they made it so the Witch King has to run too. That makes it way better. Because in situations like that, if they wanted to play Grand or they only had a character, I would actually that's a much better effect. Make the Witch King run too. Yeah. But as it is in this base version, it's pretty bad. So it's a 1. Heroic Death's a 1, 5, and then flexibility is a 1. It's not flexible whatsoever. Not only do you need a companion to be in that fight, you also just don't want to play it for that because it's so bad. So it's a 7, held up entirely by its combat. All right, sorry. Video ended there because my computer yelled at me, or just got really excited for Wizard Staff. Oh yeah. Anyway, Mithril Coat and Sting. So this is if you play it on the table, when you draw a tile, you draw a new one. And then you put the second one into effect, and you put the first one back into the pool. So this is, again, the win condition typically for free people is destroy the ring. This benefits that win condition. It's invaluable. It's a 5. Easy peasy. Yeah, I mean, it's got some downsides. You said in Mordor, they roll 6 eyes. You pull an eye, you use Mithril, and then you get a red. It's like, oh man. It's like, come on. But usually you use it when you pull a red, and you get to try again. So it's just giving the free people more options. It's right up there with There's Another Way in terms of just the effect itself being so stupidly good. You're hunting for it when you're going through the character deck. It's a 5. Blade of Westerness. So this is if a hobbit is in a battle, if you get 1 hit on your leader reroll, you kill a minion. So this is way better than Fateful Strike. That whole problem I talked about earlier where they play Deadly Strife and you might just roll too good on your combat. If you just miss 1 on that leader reroll, you hit on a 3-up to kill a minion. That's great. Mary kills the Witch King. It's thematic as hell. I love it. I'm mad that they attached it to Mithril. That's unfortunate. For sure. It's one of the best effects in the game, Mithril, for your win condition. And they decide to attach the most fun. Granted, it's a very easy effect to pull off. I get it. You're trading it off. I get it. It's a big trade-off. I think in the future, I might just start just holding it just for the fun of it. Now, granted, you do need a hobbit, so if all the hobbits are just dead or whatever, obviously not, but it's just so easy to pull off. Like, even, like, Dread and Despair, you can still pull it off, assuming you have well, yeah, you'll have the hobbit. I'm thinking more Foul Stench. If they Foul Stench the hobbit for some reason, hopefully you have at least one other leader in there to potentially get you that hit. Yeah, it's a great fun effect, but it's attached to the wrong card. I'm going to give it a 3. I don't remember what I gave Fateful. I think I gave it a 2. Yeah, I think it's fair. The effect is godlike good, but it does require a hobbit. Now, granted, the hobbits are, like we talked about earlier, the easiest to get into fights, but still, it's got a restriction. Daring Defiance didn't technically have a restriction. It's just hobbits are the most likely to use it. So I'll give it a 3. And then the versatility. So this is going to tank the rating like hell. Versatility is a 1. This is not a versatile card for competitive play. You're playing it for Mithril. Always. Always, 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 always. Blade of Westerness. It's not the most insane thing to try to pull off. It has a restriction. It does have a restriction for the companions with the least amount of movement. So if when they get separated just at the wrong times, you're not going to be able to move them to a stronghold. They just have to kind of get taken alive to the stronghold for them to be. So, yeah, again, Daring Defiance, as good as it is with hobbits, it doesn't need hobbits. This actually needs a hobbit. And, yeah. Versatility is a 1, so that is definitely going to tank the rating on this card. But I can't think of anybody that draws this card and thinks, oh darn, should I play it for Mithril or Blade? Maybe anybody but me, but 6, 7, 8. So that Mithril will come out to a 9. So Mithril Coat and Sting goes to C. We always have to have one card that just feels weird with its rating. But again, we're judging the whole card in terms of, I really need to survive this combat. Damn it, I drew Mithril. Like, yeah, that's what we look at. Granted, okay, a better example for character cards with the free people at least. I have 3 companions in this battle. Damn it, I drew Mithril. Yeah, that would suck if none of them are a hobbit. So, House of the Stewards. So this is Boromir. If Boromir's in a Gondor region, you recruit an elite and draw 2 strategy cards. It's pretty good. It's pretty good, but like most of them, it's not consistent. It's a little niche. Boromir getting to Gondor alone is extremely difficult. He usually goes with Strider. So you're committing 5 points of corruption to get Boromir down there if you draw this card. So you're sacrificing a good chunk of stuff just to get an elite and 2 more strategy cards. Strategy cards are the strongest in base game. That I don't think that's an opinion. I think everybody agrees with that. So it is good to draw 2 more. Yeah, it's certainly a good effect. It's just the Boromir restriction, and again, I've never seen somebody separate Boromir to Gondor by himself. You're committing a lot just to play this card. You're committing probably Strider and Boromir to it. So I'll give it a 3. It's good effect. Just the requirements are a little difficult and not and depend on board state. Brave Stand. So Brave Stand is the shadow rolls 1 die less for every companion in the battle. This is like the anti-Daring Defiance, where having a single hobbit in the fight is perfect for it. This is where you have the big army, again, Aragorn, Boromir, maybe a hobbit, maybe Gandalf the White, all in one army. And now Shadow only rolls 1 die against that army. And the great thing about Brave Stand, unlike Daring Defiance, there's no downside. So, yeah, that's the trade-off. It's more difficult to use effectively because you need more than one companion for it to really matter, but you don't lose anything. So Gandalf the White can play it even when he's shining. Yeah, it's great. It's a great effect. I don't think it's as good as Daring Defiance even with that because again, like what are the odds you're gonna have 3 or 4 companions? Yeah, if you have 2 companions in a stronghold, it's like a daylight. That's pretty good. Nothing can cancel it, which is nice, unless Black Breath gets 2 hits. But obviously, Black Breath's so bad that would have had to happen the round before they played Brave Stand. But yeah, I mean it's technically a daylight when you have 2 companions, but still, if they play a good card, you're still taking 3 hits. I don't know. I'm kind of torn on this one. If it's a 3 or a 4. I think it's a 3 because you're sacrificing so much corruption just to get value from this. Yeah, I think I'm okay with a 3. Flexibility, it's a 1. This is not a card where you're like, oh, thank God I drew it. It's going to help these situations. No, this is a card where I drew this card. I need to do things to make it work. Oh, lost my voice there. I need to do things to make it work. I need to separate Boromir to make it work. I need to separate more than one companion to make the combat work. And yeah, you can play Brave Stand with one companion, but that hurts maybe Relentless Assault, taking one of their die away. But other than that, I don't know. You play it if you don't have anything else to play for sure, but it's not the greatest thing in the world. But yeah, versatility is definitely a 1. So this comes out to a 7. So this is a D. Great Company. Oh boy. So Great Company is you turn a regular into an elite in the army with Strider or Aragorn, and you draw 2 strategy cards. Really bad. You're only getting 1 health, and you're killing a elite. Or sorry, a regular. You're straight up murdering it. I do not know why you're killing it. I think it just should go to your force pool. Why is he murdering somebody to mount them? It makes no sense. It should be like Sauron, where shadow force pools obviously are all they have, but it's not like he's murdering the Uruk-hai. He's mounting them. It's weird. I don't get it. One of the weird things where they're like screw free people for no reason. I don't see a thematic reason why they wouldn't just go to reinforcements. But anyway, yeah, the 2 strategy cards are all the only reason you'd play this. Notably, you can play it under siege. You can play it when you're attacking a stronghold, but you're only giving yourself 1 health. I guess that's why they made it so you only give yourself 1 health, because they didn't want free people sieges to be strong. Fine. Why the guy needs to die? He had a family. I don't know, but it's a 1. It's not good. Brave Stand is a 3. Versatility is a 1 because Brave Stand's more awkward to use, like we talked about, and Great Company is extremely awkward to use. So yeah, this will go to 5 and be in the F tier. And then we have There and Back Again. There and Back Again is you separate, they get 1 extra move. If Legolas or Gimli are in Woodland Realm, Dale, or Erebor, dwarves, north, and elves activate and move down a step. I think for base game specifically, this card just doesn't really do much. It doesn't give you much value. I think in the expansions, particularly the new Kings one coming out, where nations being activated is difficult and really beneficial, this card's amazing. I don't know if they changed it or not, but it's in the Northeast. It's very awkward. So you have a very limited time frame where you can do this effectively unless you go high pass route, which I don't think is a good idea. That's a whole other video, but I don't like the high pass route. I like that if you draw this card, you have the option, particularly, again, if we're maybe playing Kings. I haven't played it yet, but if we're playing Kings, I want to get Thranduil and Dane Ironfoot in the game. Maybe I will go high pass if I draw this card. That seems cool. But as it stands in base game, not much value. You're typically just using this as a separate. But it's objectively worse than I Will Go Alone. It's the same movement, but you don't get the corruption heal. The effect it has typically isn't used. Also similar to I Will Go Alone, I didn't bring it up with that one, but I don't like that this is separate exclusively. So if your fellowship has like one hobbit left and Legolas and Gimli are on the map doing things, you can't play this and have them move. They have to separate from the fellowship. It's a weird restriction. I don't know. Like, it'd be cool if you could separate them and then play the card. You know, that way you can be far away from the Northeast and still get this effect. It's a very weird restriction. Not a fan. Because it requires luck. You either have to not get revealed at all, or I guess the intention is they wanted you to go the Northeast route. Yeah. In that case, I think they should have made the effect stronger, personally. But, yeah. I give it a 2, just because it's saved entirely by the extra move it gives you. So you can maybe get Strider to Minas Tirith and stuff like that. The combat, Brave Stand. Once again. Which is a 3. And then, yeah, versatility, I think it's a 2. Yeah, because, no. I gave House of Stewards a 1. Granted, There and Back Again is a more lenient event. Yeah, it's more lenient. House of Stewards requires Boromir to already be in Gondor. This just lets you separate people. It is more versatile. I'll give it a 2. That makes sense. So it's a 2, 4, 2, which comes out to 8. So There and Back Again is a C. And that finishes up the Free People character card rankings. Yeah, it looks a lot different compared to the Shadow ones. Only one S. And it did end up being a 15 at least, so. Dead Men, We Prove the Swift are right below it. Yeah, I'm actually pretty surprised how this one ended up. Pretty cool. It just shows you how bad character cards are. Like, the vast majority of them are below average in the C and below range, where only one of the effects is worth doing, and there's no versatility or flexibility. They're all just difficult to play and awkward and annoying. That sums up Free People character cards pretty well, so it makes sense. Yeah. Like, even There is Another Way. It's similar to that. You don't want to draw that card early. But it's saved by Heroic Death. Like, it has that potential to save you the game, and you can't discredit that. Like, yeah, it sucks to get rid of it, but if you're going to lose at military this turn, that card will save your ass. So it's good that it's just so good in both ways. Makes sense why it's there. Yep, I think this mostly makes sense. For the record, Wizard Staff, it's a 1/1/1 in case you're curious. Yeah, no redeeming quality to that card. Yeah, nothing really strikes out to me, I guess, except Mithril, but I don't know. I kind of expected Mithril to be kind of in the middle because of Blade of Westerness. Bilbo's Fateful Strike, yeah. Maybe I was a little too generous on Athelis because Andoril is kind of awkward. But again, keep in mind that will be, I think, like I said, a C if you run away with Aragorn typically. So I think that makes sense. I think just for me personally, this would be where my Athelos would be. But thank you guys for watching. I will come back for the final video of the Free People strategy cards, and I will see you all then. Later.